Welcome to the show. My name's Chris and I cover technology from an Australian perspective. Please subscribe, it's free. Hello YouTube, hope you're all well and fingers crossed to a better live stream tonight. Oh my gosh. If you tuned in last week, it was a bit of a, well, for the want of a better term, a bit of a show. And apologies for that first, seriously, for realistically 16 minutes or so. Everything was working before I went live. Everything, I tested it. It was great. I did rehearsals. Well, I think one of the viewers suggested might have been Chrome having a bit of a moment. So tonight I've cleared the cache. So we'll see how that goes. Well, I just saw a brief flash of a blank screen there, but hopefully that's going to be the last of that. Fingers crossed. I just briefly, before we get into a few news items and an update on the High Court case, I'm upgrading my internet here. I can actually get fiber to the premise now. So that's at the end of the month. And I think that'll improve this situation. And from there on in, I'll be able to invite some guests in, which is what I want to do. This is a monologue. It'd be great to have a dialogue and also keep your comments coming, yeah, because it's going to be great to actually, have your questions, and I'll try to answer them as I see them. And, thanks, Gaffer, for joining me and supporting as a YouTube member. That's brand new to the channel, only a recent addition. And I'm very grateful if you could support the channel either by subscribing, becoming a member. And there's lots of options here. There's not only just doing, those things, there's Patreon as well, and the super chat and all that sort of stuff. But tonight's going to be a short, sweet episode because I'm really fearful that it might just stuff up again. And so I'm just going to be talking about a few different items. But yeah, there's some perks of being a YouTube member, Patreon, and so on and so forth. So again, thanks for your support. No matter what you do, even just commenting and sharing the video, that all helps as well. It really does. Okay, so I think there's a few things we need to talk about tonight, and it's a little bit of Tesla news, and then it's a little bit of the High Court case, and then I'll be shooting my Patreon news, which both the YouTube members and those guys also get. And let's kick it off with some of that conversation around the Tesla Model Y performance delivery, delays, and there's some weird stuff going on here, which I think I've got my theory as to what's going on, but let's just step through what we know. And with thanks to the Driven who have run with the story. I think there's others out there. You might be included. You're waiting on your one, and you know full well what it's like. And you did a day one order, and you're just desperately waiting for an awesome car. And look, if you put it in way back when, originally it was slated for November through February release. Then in September, that changed to April to June next year. So it really got blown out. And then just recently, like Tesla Tom from Ludicrous Feed, he noted that he's now January to March. And here's my theory on this, is that I think Model S and X are finally going to come to Australia. You can actually go to the Tesla website now and order one. $350 down, a refundable deposit, but it doesn't tell you how much coin you're going to be spending. It's kind of reminiscent of like registering your interest in a very serious sort of fashion, but you can configure it. You can play around with all the different options. There's the the very fast 3-point-something second version, the plaid version, 19, 21-inch wheels, you name it. And I think because these are going to be made in China, just to be clear here, this is why I think they're diverting some of the energy and resources and manpower and all that to ramp up and get going again. It's kind of deja vu with the Model S and X. And so that will therefore mean we start actually seeing them on our roads, which would be brilliant because, man, not that I can afford one, but would I like to get into one? Would you like to get into one? I think we all would like to. So it'll be good to see, but I think the unfortunate side effect here is that some of those Model Y performance orders are going to be pushed back a wee bit. But again, ebbs and flows, things change. And I know personally, the frustration with the Model 3 that I cancelled, it was coming, and it was slow. And then, the Model Y, that was a pretty short wait. That was actually a very short wait. But between, other people starting to get theirs and me not getting mine, it was kind of like, Why they get theirs? It's frustrating. I get it. The Tesla way. It's a thing. It's a thing. It really is. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is, have you heard about Elon Musk talking up the Cybertruck, which, FYI, still doesn't actually have a production date, realistically, for anywhere but, let's say, America. And even in there, they're not really making them over there. But it seems that Elon has got some brilliant ideas for these, what they term them? The Americans call them a utility vehicle. We call them four-wheel drives, surely. Yeah, a utility vehicle to me is something like a people mover, an SUV. But anyway, the utility, I guess, of the Cybertruck is going to be camping, hauling stuff, tradies, showing off how huge it can be. And now Elon is actually saying, hey, you know what? We can, but these things could be semi-amphibious. And it's just, I can't believe that he's even done this, but I think he's got a motive here, and it's this: is that he's saying, hey, the Cybertruck will be waterproof enough to serve briefly as a boat, so it can cross rivers, lakes, even seas that aren't too choppy. Now, in the very next tweet, just beneath that, he goes on to say that, hey, I think it should be able to and help us out, or me out. This is Elon speaking here. It needs to be able to get from Starbase to South Padre Island, which requires like crossing a big channel. And I looked at this and I did a bit of a Google map exercise to see what that actually looks like. And it's this. The picture to the, I think, left of your screen, I think it's the same for me as well. That's the road, doing the road. It's like 40 miles, takes 50 minutes to do. Conversely, if you did it via boat, it's only not even 12 kilometers. It's only 12 kilometers. And I can see Elon here going, wouldn't it be fun to jump in a Tesla Cybertruck, which is going to be waterproof enough and buoyant enough to get us from, here over to there, so that we can traverse these big spaces that we use for safe distance for these launches and so forth. To me, it boggles my brain that this guy even thinks of this stuff. It's encouraging, and for those lucky Americans who are going to get them sooner than everyone else in the damn world, great. And just thinking, these things they can, they're just going to be so useful, and this is just another addition to it. So be lovely to see. There was some talk, which I get screen captures here around, adding a very simple propeller, and then there's conversation around the wheels, being able to churn and get the the Cybertruck going. And I don't know, what do you think? Do you think this is going to be an actual thing? Or is this just Elon Musk, maybe late at night on Twitter, randomly going, it'd be really awesome. What? I think we should make it semi-amphibious. And then he just runs with it. Don't you reckon? I think Gap is suggesting here it's maybe a really bad idea, potentially. I mentioned the insurance too. I'll be honest to goodness, scared, petrified if that was a real thing. And you couldn't even begin to know the insurance risk with something that is secondary function wise as a semi-amphibious vehicle. Nonetheless, it's we'll see how this one pans out, shall we? Now, this talked in the thing down there around how the weather is in Melbourne right now. It's slightly wet, but tomorrow's going to be insane. So watch this space, shall we? Bit of an update, not so much an update as in terms of things happening with the electric vehicle tax. Our next major census date is the 25th of October. Then we've got another date in mid-November. And then we finally will get a hearing date. So that's brilliant. But I wanted to talk about this because Giles Pollock, he's over on Facebook, and he did the most extraordinary thing, which I want to share with you, just to show you how crazy this tax is. That doesn't look like much, but that right there is documented receipts evidence of 12 or 1300 private road excursions that he has done and actually asked of Vic Roads to waive. And I'll have to read you some of the text, the exchange we've had, and I've already asked him if it was okay. And hi, girls, if you're watching, thank you for sharing this golden nugget. So essentially, he went to Vic Roads because he's been going backwards and forwards since 2021, communicating, asking, how do we do this? Not very clear on that. What do I need to achieve this? They have no clue. They don't understand the law any better than you or I do. And so he went in there and they gave him a form and they just asked for a total. You know, what exempt kilometers are you going to want here? And he said, look, I pointed out on the website that it never specified a total and that I have a diarized logbook of entries. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, that's fine. What have you got? What he's got? Let me point in the right direction. It's down this way. It's down this. It's over on the screen somewhere. He gave them that, and they're like, "Oh dear, I think this is going to take a little bit more time." And it's again demonstration of that this poor tax is stupid, dumb tax has been poorly thought through, and the implementation is clunky at best. And there's just no concession here. There's no real world understanding of it. Don't even get into the whole thing of when you drive interstate, you're paying, back to Victoria for road use other places. And, it was premised on actually providing infrastructure to Victoria, but it goes to central consolidated revenue, which, by the way, is in the court case, which Victoria actually admits to. Tim Palace said it was supposed to be for, electric vehicle charging and stuff like that, but no. It just goes to central revenue. It's quite clearly in the act itself. So, it's just the craziness that is this silly, tax we have in Victoria, which could come to a state near you. I've had questions both on my YouTube channel, and I sometimes see them over on Facebook and stuff like that. And I try to stay out of them because, remember, again, I'm the plaintiff and I need to be cautious as to what I say. And so this chappy here, Greg, he asked, is there any way I could video or do something to that nature in the trial? And the answer to that is no, can't happen. But nonetheless, I will be up there. I will document the trip and I will make a video on it, but definitely can't be doing that. But I think it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be fascinating. That's the correct adjective, to see what goes on there. And now this next one. Robert wrote that, thank you for all your efforts with everything. And that's generally what I tend to get. Some people are still confused as to what fuel excise is and how it actually doesn't pay for roads. Nonetheless, he says that, I just want to say I feel disillusioned and discouraged with wanting to get an EV. And this is my issue with this. The health stuff, that's my first and foremost. But conversely, because it's got all the benefits of reduced noise, pollution, CO2, health benefits, the next thing that this tax does is it actually discourages uptake of electric vehicles, which provide all those benefits. So it's really myopic, very short-sighted of government to do this. And he says, this is Robert, state government's flogging Joe Average as a cash cow. That's Tim Pallas's own words, pretty much. Not seeing the big picture, and it's only easy dollars for them. And Queensland is talking, definitely, they're legislating for it. He goes on about big energy projects. They really have. They've got billions of dollars pledged on renewable projects and interconnectors and electric vehicle superhighway and going deeper with chargers. All good stuff. Stuff was covered with Patreon news episodes and also now YouTube member episodes. And just maybe state government think EV is a cashed up rich people who can easily pay for some leech tax. And it's very opportunistic of them. It really is. And that's why they're all actually in support as, of Victoria, as defenders, or interveners is a correct term there, sorry. And that includes, disappointingly, ACT, who is, I think, the leader in all states and territories of Australia in supporting renewable energy projects and changing everything. They've done power purchase agreements for 100% renewable energy, and that's happening right now. And this is ACT supporting Victoria with this tax. Again, it disincentivizes people, just like we're seeing here with Robert and what I've seen with other people in this space. It's truly annoying and something that we need to get rid of as soon as we can, basically. So I guess that is my short and sweet little news episode for tonight. Again, this is kind of me testing out the things and hoping my internet doesn't break. It didn't so far, so great, awesome. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go backwards through here, and I wonder if this is Giles, who's actually the same Giles from Facebook. If it is, Giles, say so now. Will South Australia be withdrawing from supporting the defendant given they're intending to eliminate the EV tax? Okay, so they've already eliminated the tax. That was a pledge by the incoming government, and they've abolished that, but they're actually still supporting the Victoria in this case. So it's kind of like a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde scenario, isn't it? Definitely. And I think it's again mimics what ACT is doing here. Also, just FYI, Northern Territory is in this too, and all the other states and territories. They're all helping out Victoria in this space. Deborah Shepherd, I'm just going backwards through here. This is an interesting comment. It's hard to sell people on the idea of an EV once you tell them they need to pay 2.6 cents per kilometre, and it's indexed and it's going to go up like it did this last year, 4%. And then Vic Roads averages that, and they don't actually pay any attention to kilometres you did in one financial year versus the next. So again, that analogy of mine, if you did 10,000 kilometres in one financial year and only 1 kilometre in the second one, they don't care. They're going to average that 10,001 kilometres and charge you at the new rate. It's just the way they're doing it. It's a dumb tax on way too many levels. What else we got here? On the weekend, we did a Patreon meetup. I had the Kia Niro electric on review, the Kia Niro EV, the 2023 model review. So that was a little fun get together. What else we got going on here? I'm just looking through the messages quickly before I wrap it up. And Scott, who's one of my producers on Patreon, he asked, did my Powerwall kick in for Stormwatch? Might have. I can check that, but I won't bore you guys with it. I'm currently in talks, by the way, with Amber to do a story on the sort of, virtual gaming product that they're doing. Give me that name, Scott. He's with that at the moment. But nonetheless, it's going to be interesting to see how that all turns out. And just rewinding a bit more on the questions. And I'll pay the tax. Oh, this is coming through. There's a bit of a delay sometimes on the messages. So I've got two different streams going here. And this one from Song for Guy 1. Hope I said that correctly. I think I did. I'll pay the tax for free fast chargers. Yeah, supposed to be purported for that, but it's not. It just goes into general revenue. But nonetheless, yeah, look, a short, sweet episode is a good episode, I'd say. So again, I want to thank you all for joining in. So it's 30 people watching now, so thank you very much. I'll keep you updated as per usual, and next Wednesday I'll plan on doing another episode, maybe a bit more adventurous than this, because I think my MBN's getting updated next week. So if I can, I'll invite a guest along and we can have a bit of a conversation about what's making news and what's not. For the YouTube members and Patreon, they're going to be getting about a good half a dozen news stories, some of the behind the scenes stuff, which let me just do this. Oh, got it for review. So exciting. Anyway, that will be for another time. So yeah, watch this space. Hit the like button to help grow the channel. Definitely do the like, do a comment, and yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. But look, I think almost everyone here is. But it's going to be exciting times ahead, because I think there's a lot to be said. Right now, BYD has exploded in Australia, 1,000% up on August. People getting their cars. I've got the Volvo XC40 for review at the end of the month. Then straight after that, I'm going to the MG ZS EV, the 2023 model, or 22 facelift model. So that'll be fun. Interesting little tidbit here, by the way. My media rep over at MG says that, what is it, the MG4? Yeah, the MG4 isn't supposedly available for actually deposits or, on sale yet. But yet last week we had over on the Driven people claiming that actually they've been able to do that with a dealer. So I don't know what's going on there. That's kind of curious, isn't it? Something's going on. I'm not very sure. Anyway, all right. Well, I think we should call it. And again, thank you so much for supporting the work that I do. And if you can, smash that